Good evening and welcome to fine Wednesday evening of more miniature painting. But first, got a new sticker from the Incorrigible Cup Party. There's wonderful people also about to sneeze, so bear with me. This is Tuft. I think Adas has got to be one of my favorite, if not the favorite character I have in the entire podcast. It was very, very well done. So, got a sticker recently from the IPers, and I just love it. So it had to go on my wet palette lid, like the other ones from Seawolf Art and from the IP podcast itself. Go check them out. Go check out Seawolf Art, and let's get on with some painting. Tonight we are basically just going to be cleaning up, finishing up a couple of miniatures I started a while ago, but I can also see that this mess that I call my wet palette just needs to be fixed. I will see if I have. Nope, that will have to be later. So I also apologize a little bit for the very bright face I've got today. I'm toying around with a new background that I got here, and apparently that means that since all of the background is black, my face camera here decided that it should turn up the light or whatever, so bear with me. But anyway, the two miniatures we're revisiting today are these two here from Warhammer Underworlds. Right, it's I think it's from the Shadespire core set, which it was the first box set they made for it. These are part of a Chaos crew, a Khorne followers. This one here I painted before Christmas as part of a painting challenge to see how much me and some of the other streamers could make out of the Army Painter starter set. I just never finished the rim around the base, so I mean there are other things I'd like to change with him, but for now just need to clean that up. It just makes the miniature look more finished. Right now every time I see him I just see the paint splotches down here, the sort of speckled base around. I mean, the speckled base would be a nice finish, but because of the specks here and the blobs of paint, I'm just going to give it a once-over of something. And this guy here, I spent a lot of time getting his skin right. It's one of the sort of more detailed skin highlights I've ever done in my life. Spent way too long on it, but had a lot of fun, learned a lot of things about applying different layers, working up from there. But I need to do something about his pants and his boots, and of course the base. Once that is done, I mean the skull here, way too white, just need a quick wash down. So yeah, but I think just to get started, we'll finish this guy off, and I'm thinking maybe just go with a gray around the base. It's probably gonna be a good idea. But which gray? I think we'll be going for this one. Just need to shake it up a bit. So what we did there was the usual. I got one of the sort of tattoo artist paint bottle shakers, or ink shakers as they're called. It's really nice. It just sits down the bottom of the bottle and sort of spins it around, but then when you hold up here it actually swirls the paint around inside. I should add agitators and small glass or metal balls that go into the paint pot for making the stir even better, but not today, which is what I've been saying for the past months. Let's leave it at months and let's not go too far into that. Also, I will try a small trick I learned from Squidmar. When you're thinning your paints, instead of adding the water, hey AJ, glad to see you. So instead of adding the water to the paint on the wet palette, I'm just trying to soak up the water in the brush. Just from my pot of fairly clean water, and then just having having the water on the bristles of the brush, and then dipping that into the paint. That way you will presumably, and it actually does look like it, except I'm off screen. Oh yeah, I've missed you in Discord as well. I've just been pretty busy doing things and actually working. I've been outside a lot more than I had expected. And yeah, to be honest, it's kind of been so busy doing stuff on the computer that I actually try to get a little bit away from the computer when I can. Or if I do need some total relaxation time at night, I actually tend to just put on, again, just Vermintide is my sort of go-to game with this, but for some bizarre reason, I really relax when playing Vermintide, even though there's actually a lot of action going on in that game. I even tried wearing one of the, I don't know, fitness watches or Fitbits, whatever they're called, and throughout the day my stress levels will get pretty high, especially when working, especially when talking to people, work calls or whatever. But when playing Vermintide, in the midst of absolute mayhem, slaughter, Skaven and chaos thingies all over the place, my mind just goes, oh, this is nice and relaxing. I'm not entirely sure if what that says about my sort of general state of mind, that I relax while playing a truly horrible, kill everything in sight kind of video game, but I mean, I think part of it is because I know the levels and I play on a fairly low difficulty. So anyway, there you go. Might give it a quick layer more, but this, I mean, compared to before, this just rounds off the miniature so much better. I mean, now it just looks finished, at least to me. So put him over there, and I have to say, hey Cobbs, where am I now? I am lost in the darkness, the vast darkness of space. It happens, you know. One day you're sitting in front of your computer, the next day, poof, out in the middle of space. I've learned not to care too much about it. It happens. Yeah, I mean, the new setup, I don't know if you heard it before, that's also why I apologize for being extremely sort of overexposed in the face. I haven't gotten the software in from my camera to adjust it down, so we're gonna have to live with that. But no, I actually ordered a full sort of black screen and green screen and white screen, 3 colors, complete setup. But I'll just show it. You can see, so I have this huge carpet going down through my back. Well, actually, this is because partly because I wanted to block off all the mess I have in my room, but also because at some point I would so love to play a prank on my coworkers. You know, we have Zoom calls, or well, we use Teams, and we have the Zoom calls with the people from the Bastard Cafe. Some of them might be watching, but a lot of them won't. Yeah, but what I'm gonna do with the green screen though is that I will actually try to record a video of my room without me sitting in front of my computer, and then just go for 10 minutes or so, and then I'm gonna walk into the room, pick up something from, you know, from the shelves or whatever next to my desk, and just walk back out again, and then I'm gonna loop that as a video, especially at work calls in Teams, because on Teams you can't do video backgrounds as such, but you can if you run OBS or similar tools. If you do that, and then just what's it called? Set up a virtual webcam in OBS, and then your green screen, or whatever called, color keying, I think it's actually called. So you color key your background out with the green screen, and then I would run the video of me picking up something in the room, so there'll be 2 of me at some point. I also considered doing kind of a stabbing myself, you know, dressing up as a ninja, whatever, creepy stuff, but that might be overdoing it. So just the whole, why are there 2 of you at the same time prank. I don't know. I may have been confined in this small room for way too long. But yeah. Yeah, Cops, how does that work? I saw you did it with the RTX 3060 or something you have. So it's a very, very fancy video graphics card you got there. The video is still images. Yeah, it's cool. So anyway, we've mixed up a bit of green. We'll be doing some highlighting on the, of course, that won't work. So yeah, what's new with all of you? Speed extension, you can play full videos, but it's a twice speed. You gotta fix it for that. Okay. Okay, so your AJ is finishing up her work day. Awesome. Enjoy. That was a little bit too bright green to begin with. Let's go down a notch. Yeah, the mini is cool. He's a proper badass kind of person. So yeah, he's from Warhammer Underworld Corps, if you know that one. Oh, thank you, AJ. Thanks for stopping by and saying hi. I've missed you guys as well. I will catch you in Discord again soon. Okay, I think I may have only actually sort of half finished this miniature. So anyway, that's all good. That's all fun. No one's dying because I've messed up a paint job. That is, at least not yet. So yeah, but Cops, what are you up to today? Oh, thank you for the sub, the gift sub to Woheen even. So you don't you know what, you don't know Warhammer Underworlds? It is in many ways more of a board game than a normal Warhammer game. I mean, you can use some of the Age of Sigmar units, but you don't have the list building aspect. You just get all these models. Oh, you've been working double shifts. Yeah. So basically, the building you're doing in Warhammer Underworlds is that you build a deck of action cards. I think it would be the proper term for it. And this set of action cards will also include some objectives you have, but then instead of moving sort of free form on the board, you just move. Okay, so when I take the fully dark color, it's the same as what I highlighted with. When I take the one step brighter color, it gets incredibly bright. Either my eyes have finally gone old, or something weird is going on here. Anyway, no. So and then you know, instead of moving like a number of inches, you still move around on hex grids. So in that way, it resembles a board game a bit more. But it is supposedly really well balanced. I played it a few times. As always, I just love the Citadel minis. It's yeah. I think they're pretty cool. I mean, it's some of the most detailed miniatures I've seen on the market in my entire life. So, but yeah, of course, you see you're working triple shift tomorrow. How does that work at a school? Have you started? You know, not to dox you or anything, but you have mentioned it before, I think. But do you just keep the students there 24/7? Work them hard. No? Ooh. 2 shifts and meetings. Yeah, yeah. You know, I forgot about meetings. Life is so much simpler when you're just working on your own projects. And for most of January and February at work, I've been the sole developer on this new project I've been working on. And it's been really, really nice because it means I've just been able to, you know, sort of schedule my own time. I've had, of course, some status meetings with my boss, who's also the PM, project manager on this one, which has been cool. So he always knows what I'm doing. I do regular status updates in the team. But that's pretty simple when it's just me. It's a lot easier. Let's see if we can tone this down just a tad. Huh. Okay, this is getting interesting. I seem to be also wet blending a little bit here. So anyway, I just wanted to brighten up his pants a little bit. Now I'm doing lots of weird stuff along the way, which is fine, I guess. Oh yeah, Corpse, you miss going to university. So do I. I mean, at uni, that was so much fun. I remember my dad always telling me when I was a student and just before I became a student, he actually gave me some really good advice that I totally did not understand and get fully until I was done being a student. But what he said was that you should enjoy it because you'll never have as much time as you do now. And at uni, I always felt like I was behind. There was always, you know, homework to be done, reports to write and finish. I loved doing the study, but there was always, you know, this something to do, something that needed to be done, and so on. But then when I graduated, which was way back in 2001, yeah, I'm that old. I mean, the gray beard doesn't give it away, but I am actually old. No, but when I got out, I actually had a full-time job, and this was before, you know, the working from home became really a thing, at least for me. So I'd have to be at the office from 9 to 5, that kind of classic job. But doing that 5 times a week, when you're used to just being able to do whatever or completely skip sleeping on a school night because you don't have any classes the next day, or at least you skip classes the next day or whatever you do. So yeah. And Corpse, I am not surprised you studied hard. You seem like the sort of responsible person who would do that. Yeah, a lot of time and effort. That makes sense. So, well, on with this little guy's pants. Oh, you held a class? That's awesome. I was a, what's it called, TA, teaching assistant at some point. Was responsible for, you know, overseeing some lab work for some of the new electronics engineering students, even though I wasn't actually in that line as such. It was called informatics. It was basically applied mathematics and computer science sort of put together into informatics. But I took some of the digital electronics courses and landed a really nice job being a TA in the class. And it was one of the most fun experiences I've had, especially at uni, because teaching others was just really fun and showing them how it works. But I didn't actually have, you know, to teach a class. That would not have been as fun for me. Okay, so I guess this guy's getting bright green pants. Just, you know, making sure they did the assignments they had to do in the lab and understood how all the machinery worked and how to use it properly. And then I graded, or not graded, just there was a pass-fail situation. So I just went through the reports afterwards and told them what was right, what was wrong, what should be done better, what was really awesome, and all that. That was really cool. I really liked that part of it. So yeah. So oh, and you read up, so you must have been a really awesome student to have. Probably also a little daunting, but that is good. I mean, as teachers, we should always, or when we teachers, getting some sparring, getting some pushback and feedback from students is really can be really rewarding and interesting. When students go, but what about this, and go completely off the curriculum. I love that. So again, I mean, when looking at this, it's very obvious where I'm doing the highlights. I'm just turning a little bit to the miniature here. But the reason I'm doing this is because, again, at length, when you're seeing him from afar, this is actually what shows the proper highlights. I mean, he's lit up a little bit from top and the back, and this gives the model the shine it should have, and keeps sort of the dark green underneath. If you look from here, it looks a little bit silly, but this is, I'm not painting miniatures to be lying down. I mean, this guy here, he doesn't go down until he's dead, and then he doesn't care how his pants look anyway. So yeah. So we're doing this. And I just forgot. I have also completely forgotten to use my magnifying glass tonight, which is interesting, because I usually can't really see well without it. But this is actually going quite well. So I think I'm just going to try to skip it and see how it goes. Adding the last bit of bright green there. Corpse, right, that he was basically explaining his lecture in science, how life was made and how extremophile, what's that, bacteria in the building block of life, and how it's found in space, etc. The big question is, how did they come into existence in the first place? Oh, that's always the classic kind of the Big Bang question. Who pushed the button? So yeah. That is cool. So those are the pants got quite a bit more. Now if Modifian was here, she would be really happy, because now you can see his buttocks a lot clearer. And I mean, half of this is simply an excuse for her to sit around ogling nasty Chaos Warriors' rear ends. So extremophile bacteria is basically bacteria who can survive in an unsupportive environment, like no oxygen, no liquid, etc. Of course, phile being lover of, and extremo being extreme. That does make sense, yeah. So let's just quickly touch up the base here again. Got to do what I wanted to do. Leaving water in the brush here. Soaking up some paint. Nice and thin consistency. That's probably why I forgot the magnifying glass, is that just painting the rim of the base, I can easily do that without the assisted vision, whatever. So See, one thing I like about the technique of having water in the brush when painting is that it actually flows, the paint flows really well off the brush, but I don't feel like I'm fully sort of diluting the paint down to almost an ink, which means that it feels like I still have a lot of paint to paint with, it just flows better. That is definitely a trick. So thanks to Squidmar for that piece of information, that little trick. I'm sure other people have also mentioned it, even people I've just seen do it and completely forgotten about it. But there we go. That is, yeah, this is him done. Yep, I found the place where it's in focus. So anyway, always nice to try out new techniques and just see them work. Except then I then go, why the fuck didn't I know this 25 years ago? So, Gobstop once again, Cops right that his lecture got Gobstop once I ended my speech on how important it is not to ask the question why is life and what is the meaning of life, but how is life and where did it come from. We had a deeper discussion of then how the meaning of life is generally meaningless in the grand scheme of things, true, but self-actualization and the search and thirst for knowledge is what is important. So let's not go too deep. Yeah, let's not go too deep. Maybe just stop it, you know, right here at the meaning of existence level. You always come up with such awesome comments. I really love that, and don't ever stop doing that. So next up are his boots. Kind of leather, fur-trimmed leather. So I guess what we need to do is get a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Just gonna start out doing the fur trim. Just do a quick sort of, I'm gonna say, with good way of saying it, focused dry brushing. So instead of doing the big swaths with like a makeup brush or something like that, I'm just gonna do really simple. This is where I want the highlight to be. It's a little bit like if it was just dotting it in with a normal brush with no, it is a normal brush, but without doing dry brushing with paint normally on. We just sit down here and paint every single little bit of the fur here, but since there's such that they're so clear in the details, it's a lot easier to just gently dry brush them, and you see you get a very nice, very visible result here. Not entirely sure I like the shade, but what the heck, let's just stick to it. Let's go for it. And then of course do the other one as well. And then for the rest of the boots, we're just going to do a regular old-fashioned highlighting up and down. So, deep purple, yeah. That was some of the first metal I listened to a long time ago. It must be late 80s, when I was, what, 11, 12 years old? So, I mean, that's... Oh, you picked the color! Deep purple. Cool, we're going purple on this guy. Yes, we can do that. So, boots be damned, we're going purple. I love it when you pick colors. And one of the reasons we can do this is that I have another project that needs purple. So I actually got, this is the only purple I had before, which I would say is a nice purple but not deep. But this one here, Hex Legion. I'm guessing that is the enough of a deep purple for you. So, what I think I'm gonna go for, it's gonna be some highlighting, which is gonna bring it up to more brighter purple. I am actually going to make the spikes here on his shoulders, gonna make them purple, and then highlight it up like the heart there, which at least turns up purple on my screen here. So there we go. It's gonna take a little bit of the other one for the highlight. So yeah, so when he comes back to his kit, skip the camera. There we go. It's just the focus area on the camera was a bit off. And this one here has not been shook up in ages, so we're not going to use that. Let's just go straight for... Corpse, did you eat my white paint? Nope, here it is. I always love it when, you know, I've been, you know, shaking my paint bottles before the stream, so I knew I had shaken up or shook up the white one, so I knew it was there on my desk. But I've got like 20-25 bottles of paint just in one big huge pile here. Let's actually go for this one. So yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going deep purple thanks to Corpse Throat, who requested it by spending some hard-earned channel points. Can you see if I'm painting this? You probably can't, but... Oh, that is a nice color. Excellent choice. Yeah, this is, I don't know, for a really long time. I mean, purple, especially sort of deep dark purple, has been one of my favorite colors as well. It's dark and sinister, yet it's also vibrant because it has sort of the red tones in them. I really like it. Even to the point that we're back to university and doing weird shit when you're a student. At some point I decided that I was good enough at typing that I didn't really need to be able to see the letters on my keyboard. So I went to one of the local hobby shops or whatever and got a rattle can of metallic purple. Again, it's basically this style here. I have some... I still have photos of it somewhere. So basically I just fully cleaned down, of course, my old keyboard so the paint would stick. You know, rinsed it off completely using rubbing alcohol, stuff like that. And then I took it down to the basement, spray painted it dark metallic purple, and it looked freaking awesome. And it was such a joy bringing it to LAN parties after that, because you couldn't see the letters. That was the entire point. It looked neat. And also, this was way back in the day when Doom 2 was still a thing, and back then, even playing network games and all that was still fairly new to everyone, and also to the game creators. So it didn't have an auto run button, and after 10-20 hours of playing Doom at a LAN party, you would get really what's called tired in your... For my part, it was the left little finger that I would be using to hold down the shift key, which was the run key in Doom 2. That was just horrible. So a friend of mine who's a lot better at electronics than I am gave me a hand fixing up my keyboard. I mean, he helped me how to do it, but I think I did it myself, because I do know how to use soldering. It's called soldering gun, whatever. So we had made a small switch that went on the side of the keyboard, and then a small LED to light up when it was lit, and it just basically blocked the shift key. Just hooked into the keyboard electronics and did that. And me being me, I had of course chosen to have a blue LED on this completely fully painted purple keyboard. I'm not going to try and find it now, but remind me if I forget, Corpse, that I should find my purple keyboard for you. Okay, so it is very deep purple, but you should be able to see it here, that it is in fact purple. I'll be highlighting it once it's dried. So I'll just do the a little bit of work on the boots. And I used a fairly bright trim for the boots, so I want to do a slightly more reddish highlight on the boots themselves. And it just splotched out way too much paint, but that's fine. At least the paint over here is nicely mixing with more or less everything else. That's fine. Yeah, I mean, once I start highlighting it, it's gonna highlight basically all the way up to white, I think, because then it gets a really sort of pang. And yeah, it does go well with the green, so good call on that. I mean, just having those two bits of purple adds a lot to the model when I'm sitting with it here. So, but yeah, purple, awesome color. I think the world needs more purple. So just trying to figure out what is what on the boots. So yeah, so who else is lurking out there in the void? The AJ is finishing up work. Looks like more people are here, so don't be shy. Say hello to all the wonderful people. I'm pretty sure Corpse has yet to find a way to eat you through the screen. Yeah, no, I know. I mean, it's really, really nice that you actually put in an effort to find some complementary colors and, you know, do some stuff that helps make the miniature pop, because it just adds a lot to the miniature. And I mean, I've seen when people are doing sort of the bone effects like this on other miniatures, I've seen them use sort of a purplish effect, but I've never actually done it myself. So I had figured on just going for kind of a bone color, like, you know, light brownish, gray type of thing. But no, let's go purple. So much more fun. So. See here, I'm going pretty hard on the first highlight here for the boots. That's because I actually want to keep the sort of using the base brown that I painted with in the first go. I want to use that as the actual shade on this, so I'm not using a shade or ink or wash, whatever you want to call it. I'm just pulling it all the way down, just leaving it there, and then just highlighting it up directly on top of it. I mean, shades only make sense if you really can make the color you're working with darker. And yeah, I could put on sort of a black shade here, trusty old Nuln Oil, but it would be nearly invisible on the boots because the boots are such a dark brown. You know, the first color I painted it with. So yeah. Baptist. Oh shit, is that still in there? Yeah, I'm gonna owe you that one, Corpse. That is my bad. I'm gonna make that up for you. You're gonna get a free colored pick at any time you're choosing. I was trying to write a bot to assist with some extra entertainment for you guys, and apparently I forgot to remove the Nightbot command that should trigger it. I do apologize for that. Well, thank you for pointing it out. See here with these highlights, this is a type of highlighting I really hate doing, but I'm basically going with the first layer of semi-dark brown here. I'm going for the sort of topmost part of it. Yeah, but just remember you have one. I'll try to remember it as well, of course, so I can remind you. But yeah, thanks for pointing it out, though. I need to clean it up, those commands, and or better yet, I need to finish writing the bot. I think that would be a lot better. I just got stuck on other projects. As is often the case. So, no, but other projects, as I mentioned, some of the other fun stuff I have is that I should be playing as a player in D&D. First time as a player in 5th edition. I have no idea how that's going to go. Probably horrible. But I do have some plans for a character to create, and I think where I'm currently headed, it's going to be a completely bonkers religious zealot cleric. Yeah, I'm going to be a player. It's kind of scary, actually. I've not been a player in D&D for really long. So, but yeah, I'm just gonna kind of jump into it, embrace it. I've not played a cleric or a healing type of any healer of any type in a really long time. So I wanted to do that, but I also want to give it my usual messed up spin that I just like giving my characters. I know it's probably a horrible thing to do and say, but it does make them a little more interesting to play. If they just kind of do-good guys who, oh yeah, let's go here, let's beat the monsters, let's be heroes kind of thing, that's actually really predictable. So the trick is to create a non-predictable, yet for me at least non-random character, and going for the more sort of deranged, unhinged types of characters can make me at least have the challenge of being consistent in their weirdness. So that's what I'm going to try to do, and I might actually go for a cleric to one of the ancient ones from H.P. Lovecraft. Exactly. This is a secret, but the corpse says it's a secret, but he's made a character that is deeply connected to H.P. Lovecraft's monsters and lore. Thariston corrupted his mind, and it's a man living in fear. I actually, as I said, considered creating a cleric that follows one of the ancient ones. Not Cthulhu, that's too obvious, but Tsathoggua or I'm switching to Danish, or something other than that. You know, something that'll really sort of make people annoyed, and then I don't even know what gender it is, even if it even has one. Maybe the ancient one ate it. Oh, that would be a neat trick. So something along the lines of that, and then just really just going around trying to force it down other people's throat, but not in the sort of maniacal way, in the whole, can't you see the light? This is the way it has to be. Sort of overly enthusiastic, wanting to talk to you about the keeper of dreams or whatever, and really try to sell it well, and then sort of having the catch that, yeah, it's probably best if you're not sort of a little bit insane. A game called The Shore. Um, Yep, duly noted. Now says The Shore game. Well, I actually found out today that Sandy Peterson has made a D&D 5th edition book or lore book or whatever for the Cthulhu mythos and the Cthulhu realm and all those things. So that is actually full-blown mythos, Lovecraftian monsters, characters, all those things. I haven't obviously ordered them yet. I actually want to get those as actual physical books, not just buying the PDFs. Just need to find out where I can get them from in the EU, so I don't get slapped with import taxes and all that crap. No, but I mean that would be fun. Yeah, The Shore. Is it? Are we talking computer games, role-playing games, or roughly where are we? Horror game with amazing art. So again, computer game. Oh yeah, you wrote computer game. Sorry, I just missed that one. Cool. I will look into that and be unable to sleep for about a week. That's fine. Now, I actually found out at some point that I'm really not good at jump scares anymore. It's always fun to find out when you're watching a horror movie, just going okay, I'm getting too old for this. See, the boots, they don't look well up close. I cannot get an even coloring on this. But I don't care, it looks good from afar, and that is what we're going for. Just need to finish up this part in here. Yeah, again, the trick with, having a wet brush when you're picking up the paint also means that it's so much easier to just move the paint around on the miniature when it has enough moisture in it or enough water in it that it doesn't dry immediately. You sort of push it around a little bit, make sure it covers, that it doesn't go on in sort of splotches, but you sort of even it out, smooth it a little bit. Just drag the brush over the same area a few times and just nicely covers it, like there on his right boot. I think that'll have to do for the boots, because we're going back to the purple. Bridge or psychological horror games that make you think a lot. Are you thinking Fringe? Not Fridge? Perhaps? No, but actually part of the inspiration for my somewhat insistent cleric type person would unsurprisingly come from Warhammer Witch Hunter Zealot type of thinking. So that would be sort of really I am absolutely correct. I have everything on my side because I follow the one true God, whatever. I know that can tie into people's thoughts about religion in our world, and should always be careful about that. However, this particular one would happily acknowledge other people's gods because they exist. It's that kind of world. But I'm following the right one. You're following the wrong one, so you should come join me. We've got all the benefits. So that in that kind of thing, sort of like, why don't you come work for me? We have better coffee in the break room or whatever. I think it's really going to do this as much as I can get away with. And Cop says, oh, okay, so actually Fridge horror games If you have something molding in the fridge, but you're scared to open the fridge to check it, you know it's getting bad and worse, but you don't want to open it because of smell. Look. Okay, I did not know that was a genre. Okay, I need magnifying for this. Just now we're getting into teeny tiny miniature detailed territory. And again here, the technique being done, just to try to explain it, is to again paint a layer of a brighter color on the raised areas of the model. And here I'm not going all the way down to the base, for instance. So we have the darkest purple in the bottom, and then a slightly brighter purple, which is probably not noticeable at all on the video feed. It's actually not even that visible here in real life, but we're slowly, gradually building this up. So yeah, and it is looking good. This is gonna be fun. It's gonna take forever to do this highlight the way I want to do it, because it's gonna need so many thin layers. But we are doing this because it is going to look awesome and great. Yeah, that's also why I'm being a little quiet, is I need to focus on this. Especially now that we're getting is the third layer of a coat of purple. I need to really make sure that the paint doesn't sort of slip, or the brush don't slip, so the paint covers too much. There you go, it's beginning to be noticeable here. Yeah. That is fine, corpse. I will still be here when you're back, I am pretty sure of it, and there will still be more purple for you to watch. Yeah, we're still doing the spikes here with the purple, and I'm trying to be real careful to make a awesome highlight of it. Just slowly building it up. Cool. So you're good to go on the closed front. That is nice to know. This is gonna take forever because I'm so slow, but it will be worth it. Now, I will show you the miniature in just a little bit, Corpse, so you can see the direction this is headed. Now, one of the reasons I also want to pull it up towards white and not use the other purple is that I want to get away from sort of the red tone. I want to eliminate that. No, it's not that you picked a hard color. I mean, the purple is a great color to work with. However, what I'm doing is I'm using it in a place where I want to make a lot of layers that get sort of increasingly lighter and lighter and lighter. And that just takes a little bit of time because I have to find the right color nuance, color tone for the next layer. So I'm just mixing here over on the wet palette until I have something that feels like it's the right one. But this one was just a tad too bright. Don't want to go all the way there yet. So, I mean, lots of people would probably just do a what's called a wet blending, but I don't have the skills for that. I've never tried it before. I could probably learn it, but I don't want to do it in this. I want to make this look good. So this is, painting the purple spikes for Corpse Throat. Then they have to look good. I see this was a little bit too much there. That is why it is really nice to have, the wet brushes just to gently soak it up. And don't ever apologize for choosing a hard color. I mean, I put in that option. That is all on me. And besides, it is healthy to be challenged a little bit with things like this. It really is. That's how we develop our skills. So thank you for that. It's the same. I mean, I take it you've seen a lot of Seawolf's streams. What she's doing is really amazing. When she's just sitting there painting, I can literally, I try putting it on as background once in a while, but I always end up just sitting around just watching her work. Looks so fabulous. Yeah, exactly. You know, it's just having game running just sort of like, no, why play a game when you can watch an artist work? It's so much more fun. Got it a little bit too dark again. Sorry, I'm just fiddling around over on the color palette. Ooh, another cool project that we're coming up in a few weeks, a month or so. It's actually at work. We're trying to do some more social things at work, which I am very much a fan of because it's so nice to get to know your colleagues outside of work. And so they're doing this thing where if you have something you're interested in, can be whatever, just go for it, find a couple of people and set aside a date and then just invite people. It's easier if you are a few people because then you kind of got traction, so it's not just you. In the past I've been doing things like doing a little light game development or 3D graphics or playing around with Arduinos or the usual slightly geeky stuff. Giving people a brief introduction to the Unity game editor, just so people can see what happens in the gaming industry, things like that. That's really fun. But this time I wanted to go in a different direction. So I've convinced a couple of people to join me for some miniature painting. And it was pretty easy to convince one of the other guys because he's playing Age of Sigmar and a lot of board games, stuff like that, and paints models already. So he was kind of the person I could sort of get in as my first what's it called, participant? I don't know. So that was kind of that was the easy sell. But then one of my older colleagues has heard us talk about painting, and I brought some of the 3D painted stuff, 3D printed stuff I've made, and he thinks all these things are so cool. It's also a software developer, and we convinced him to join us and learn how to paint a miniature, and he has never painted before. That is gonna be fun. Not fun as in seeing someone who doesn't know how to paint mess it up as much as the rest of us did, but I want to see how his reaction is to when he hopefully pretty quickly gets a model with a few highlights on them, stuff like that. So yeah. So we have to figure out the specifics of how, why, and where and stuff like that. I mean, if we're still in lockdown, it might be a little tricky to set up. I could of course stream it from here, but I think it would be better if we're sitting in the same room. Fortunately, we're talking end of April, with everyone's schedules being what they are. It's gonna be a little out in the future. So, but yeah, that's gonna be fun. Plus, I have to admit that a part of it just makes me feel a little glad that when people hear about this, people at work mainly, who are not usually into these things, they always just kind of go, but what? And they get, I don't know what they get. Some of them get kind of, yeah, you're doing what? And others go, wait, is that possible? That sounds so cool. One of the Unity sessions we did earlier this year, one of our salespeople were there. So he's not a software developer, and he wanted to see how it was and what goes on in that world, and could follow along with the principles, but didn't want to do the game and all that, which is perfectly fine. And he told me later that it had actually been really cool for him because at some point I think it was his daughter or one of his daughter's friends, I'm not really sure, it doesn't really matter, they were at university and had taken a course where they used Unity. And he could go, oh, but Unity, that's the game editor, and you can edit scenes, and you can add physics and stuff like that. And the young people had just looked at this this guy, I mean, he's about my age, and just went, "Wait, you know about this? That is so cool!" So yeah, so it spreads a little bit. But that was some fun feedback to get from him. And needless to say, he has had so much fun. I'm pretty sure it was his daughter, just teasing her and going this, oh yeah, I know all about that. And I can imagine just how he did it, you know, in a really cool, playful way. So not obnoxious, just sort of the old dad teaching his young daughter, or well, she's not. I guess if she's in university, she can't be that young. But yeah. So, ooh, now we're getting into the brighter colors here. Have to be a little bit more careful now, not to overdo it. Thing is, if you pull down your highlight too far down to the base of the spike here, you're gonna end up with an even brighter one, and you can basically just redo the entire layer, which is a little silly to do. So yeah. So let's see what we can do here. You have Victor as your main. Oh, you play Vermintide too with a friend. Cool. So you're playing Saltspire. Speaking of religious sellers, Saltspire and his comments are part of my inspiration for the D&D cleric I'm gonna make pretty soon. Completely bonkers, but fun to play, hopefully. Anyway, go enjoy Vermintide. I'm gonna be off here in about an hour. If you're still playing, I will try to look you up and see if you wanna do a few missions. I can show you where all the, well, not all, but most of the tomes and grimoires are. So I don't know how much you can see yet. Yeah, can you see the highlight on his left shoulder? Yeah, I'll check out the shore as well. But if you're alive, you're online and playing. I wanna. It is. I mean, I'm gonna keep working on this probably for the rest of the stream. And post pics in Discord once I'm done. So go enjoy, go kill some Skavens and some Northlanders, Paxworn, all those horrible creatures. And thanks for joining. Cool. Well, I enjoy streaming. It's surprisingly fun to sit here and talk out into the ether. And now this was actually just supposed to be a nice little revisit of a miniature, just cleaning it up, finishing off real quickly like, and nope. I always get myself messed up in silly stuff like this. I also botched it a little bit there. That's what happens. So with corpse and probably also AJ lurking somewhere. I feel all alone. Except that I can see that we have someone lurking that I am very, very pleased to see around again. Someone who should stream more, mind you. I know you're listening. I'm not gonna say who you are because that would be rude. We are coming up on the final highlights. That was way too bright. Up and down, up and down. I'm really glad. I'm glad I don't do this for a living, but have a more sort of reasonable and simple job like doing programming, because this is getting tricky. I'm so in awe of artists who just paint this in like no time at all. It is so amazing. I still, even though I've painted for so many years, I still feel so much like a beginner at times like this. And well, in many ways I am, because I'm relearning techniques, as I've ranted about often enough. But it's so rewarding to see things work, though. That really is nice. Also, a lot of this is, I mean, especially this model here, I don't really use it, need it for any specific game. I just paint it because it's fun. I can do whatever and just play around and experiment, which is what it should all be about. I've mentioned a YouTube channel called Goobertown Hobbies quite a few times. One of the reasons I really like Brent from that show, who's running the channel, is that he very much take this whole experiment and play and see what happens. This is not sort of your day job. You don't have to finish within a time frame. You spend entire afternoon just fiddling away like I'm doing here, spending arguably way too much time on the spikes. And even though the spikes are beginning to look really awesome, I think, the rest of the miniature is not as detailed in the highlights, so it's probably just gonna drown out. But I don't care, because I'm learning a new technique. So I'm learning something, I'm experimenting, I'm trying out something cool and fun, and the fact that it's working is just actually kind of just sort of a bonus in many ways. So yeah, let's go up a notch. Go for some even brighter purple. I mean, the area I'm using currently on my wet palette here is it's just less than a centimeter on each side. I do have a little bit of paint out to the sides of it, but my mixing area here is about what? Maybe at 1 centimeter on the longest side. So it's kind of. So the question is this too bright? Probably is. Just add a little bit of water, soak up the paint, and try again. Now, so this one here is actually way too bright. But I can remove a bit of the water, a little bit of the paint, add some more water. At least it's going to be brighter, so it just gets layered on top of the others instead of properly sort of covering it. And I can always sort of just do the tips with the really bright one here and just blend it in to go down a little bit further. So that's what we'll do. Besides, once it's drying off, it actually loses a little bit of its brightness. So we're doing well. And while probably no one's listening, we can remind everyone that the lovely music we're hearing is, as always, from Adrian von Ziegler, who allows you to use his music on streams like this. Very pleasant guy. I'm sure I haven't never spoken to him or met him or anything, but he just seems like a really nice guy. He's doing so much cool stuff and letting people use it. Of course, if you're going to use it for commercial projects, of course you need to pay him for it. I think that's perfectly fine. But actually monetized YouTube and Twitch streams, like, he's okay with you using his music for that. I think that's really cool. So yeah, go check him out, Adrian von Ziegler on YouTube. If you're playing role-playing games, if you're basically doing anything where you need sort of nice atmospheric background music like what we're listening to now, go check him out. He's got a ton of different stuff. Well worth listening to. So yeah. So I need to bring this up to a far brighter color if I'm going to finish this anytime soon. And all the time when it dries down, it loses a lot of the brightness, which is new to me. So I guess I just need to be a little bit more aggressive. And still got half an hour. Well, technically speaking, I guess I have as much time as I want. Want to try to time box it at least a little bit. Considering actually just dry brushing the tips now that I'm getting this high up, to just kind of go a slightly different approach, also assist a little bit with the blending. However, I want to see what this actually leads to if I just keep doing it like this. Something quite interesting is happening with my purple paint. I think it's just been sitting too long, so it's kind of sort of separating a little bit. But the purple things, it's actually turning into small purple flecks. Specks of that was way too much paint. Well, anyway, who cares? This is not. I think this is probably gonna be second final layer I'm doing here. I'm just gonna go all white. No, so I've got, instead of just having a bright purple one, I have a bright purple with a lot of small sort of flecks of dark purple, which is annoying because if that gets onto the model, it's not gonna look good. See if we can kind of sort of fix this up just a little bit. I accidentally put too much of the bright shade too far down on one of these ones here, so I'm just gonna fix that ever so gently, like so. Yeah, that'll do. I could, well, when I have more experience, I could probably get away with far fewer layers, or maybe full-on wet blending if I can ever get out of my comfort zone and just try it one day. But for now, I think this is going reasonably well. Yeah, I mean, when I'm pulling almost straight white at the tips here, it actually reverts back to purple shade. I also have a feeling that this brush is probably abusing it a little bit. Seems like it. But yeah. Now let's go. Was very much the wrong place to put that paint. Okay, it does give an interesting effect. I'm currently trying to fix up a bit of a mess but I'm more or less ending up actually sort of shading with white, which reminded me of a technique I've seen to do flames, where you actually sort of not go from red to orange to whitish, but you actually go kind of the other way around. So you have the yellow as the shade or the ink, and then the, I don't want to say quote unquote highlights in red. So you kind of go reverse. That gives a really interesting look. It was a miniature paint job I saw where the hair, sort of, you know, wild crazy hair flying straight up into the air, was painted with that effect, and that looks really cool. Of course, some kind of, you know, fire mage wizard sorcerer type of character, so it makes perfect sense to have that kind of thing there. But yeah. So you can experiment. You should experiment, you know, with this. Paint with different colors. Do not be limited in what you do. Yeah. Okay, I think I'm at the point where anything I do from here on would only make it look worse. What else do we need to do on this guy here? Oh yeah, the base. Obviously the base. Can we do a really quick job of that in 20 minutes? Probably cannot, so let's do it anyway. We're also gonna need to do the... Where are my washes? Need to do the skull. Just real quick. Do this. The skull at the end of the axe here. This is basically just a strong tone from Army Painter we're slapping on here. Make sure you get well into the eye sockets. Those are one of the places it's gonna be really good for assisting in making this look like a skull from a distance. Other than it obviously being a skull, it has the shape and all that, blah blah blah. But the more you can use the shapes and let the ink seep in, it's got a hole at the back of the skull. I'll leave you to wonder how that happened. And the more you can do that, the more obvious it is when it's on the tabletop. The more obvious it is from a distance, the better your army will look, or your warband, or whatever you're painting this for. If you're playing it, if you're doing, you know, Golden Demon level painting, you're in the wrong channel. I cannot help you with that. But can't give pointers on how to cheat. See, there we go. Now it's not so bright white. I need to fix up the end of the spike there. It should have some kind of metal color. But we also need to do the ground here, and the ground is actually the way I see the ground is that it kind of looks a little bit like sort of frosted ice. So what I'm gonna do with that is I'm actually gonna, as always, cheat maybe just a little bit. Just need to fix up. When I was painting the other stuff, I mean, some of the paint goes down on the base. That always happens. So fixing that up, just with some white. But I'm thinking it looks a little bit like ice. So I will try to make a really cheap effect by shading it with a thinned down blue ink. And I mean, seriously, really, really thin down. I'm just gonna slap that all over the place. Try to avoid the skulls as much as possible. There's also a bit of, I'm gonna call it dirt, sticking up from the ice, but all the cracked parts here, I've decided that they should be painted as ice. So I'm just gonna give it a light blue shade. And in and out of itself, that is not gonna look very good. But I hope that when I get the details on, it's gonna be cool. Oh, hey Siri. Yeah, thanks for compliment on the skin tone. I'm actually quite happy with the skin tone. I didn't paint this today. I painted it a while ago, and I think it's about 4 or 5 layers of brighter and brighter skin colors, and it was really, really nice to do and see how it went. But tonight, because Corpse Throat, he chose dark purple or deep purple, I decided to make his spikes growing out of his shoulders do a slightly exaggerated highlight on those. May have messed it up a little bit near the end, but it's getting there. So yeah, and then we're gonna go for eyes on the base here. If I can properly cover up all the discoloration I've got from splotching paint all over. So yeah. Oh, Siri or Gal, while you're here, I looked a little bit more into the bases I sent you a link to earlier, and the other ones also look really cool. So I am definitely going to print some of those. I don't know if I can do it tonight. The printer is a resin printer, so I cannot actually be in the room while it's working. I don't have the ventilation system for that. So I need to run it either at night or when I'm not at home, or at least when I'm downstairs watching TV or cooking or whatever, so I can enclose the room to the office here. But the good news is that the bases are fairly low, so it shouldn't take too long to print them. Okay, so cracked ice. How do we go about doing that? Well, we do. What do we have? What do we have in the toolbox? Now we could go contrast color. That might actually work. Oh yeah, you will be seeing the print with your hands as soon as possible. Hopefully. Oh, I have to do them before Monday, so you can see them when you're here. Also, I got my playmat with the Malifaux stuff and all that, so you don't have to drag yours along anymore. So, thinning down blue ink. Well, a good place to start then is blue ink. But do we really want to do that? Yeah, we do. But I learned the last time that when I'm mixing up the inks like this, I can't do it on a wet palette, it goes all over the place. We're just gonna do it here instead. So okay, it's not in. I'll do it here. Yeah, that is not. That was not nice to my camera. Just a small blob of blue ink. A lot of that, and some little bit of medium just for good measure. And some white to brighten it up. I'm kind of spitballing here, just trying out to see if we can get a very light blue, really thin ink going. I'm gonna shade with this into the recesses. Now you can see. Now you can see it's really bright. Basically, I think the only thing needed now is more. And here I'm just using, well, not even straight water. I'm using straight H2O, demineralized or whatever it's called, sterilized water. Because I really just want to give it. See, when I'm pulling it up on the side here, get a feel for how much or how little it sort of contracts. I need more. So yeah. So this is just an experiment. I want to see how it is. I mean, if this goes all wrong, it's not worse than just repainting the base. So let's get a bigger brush, slightly worn out brush, and see what happens. Now the parts here, of course, the skulls are skulls, but this part here, I've designated that as being sort of ground, rough ground, gravel, dirt, whatever. But all the other parts here, the sort of flecks, I don't know, it's a little. Kind of sort of has a little bit too much color in it, but that can be fixed with just giving it a quick dry brush when it's dried up. Again, here it doesn't matter too much with the skull, because the skull is gonna get a little bit more details and paint later on. I do want to remove a little bit of the blueness here. Exactly. Just a quick Citadel says in chat, a quick dry brush with the white afterwards is going to help with the ice effect. That is what I'm aiming at, essentially, and that is a skull, and that is something that I'm never gonna hit with this paintbrush, so why try? But again, just make sure when I'm doing this, I try to make sure that I have a lot of paint on the brush, because it makes it flow into the recesses a lot easier. Apparently also makes it slide onto his shoe a lot easier. That was not the plan, but not to worry. Worse things have happened. So yeah, so I mean, this gives sort of the blue shine. Completely overexposing it again. And once that is dried up, should be good to go. For the do need to, it goes all the way to the edge. I mean, part of this is also sort of glazing the white. And yes, I do intentionally go a little bit down on the side of the base, because that's going to be repainted at some point anyway, so no point in sparing that. if it means I can make sure to get all the sides of this, just tone it down just a bit. Like so. And so while that is drying, let us be good. If we're gonna go all the way out, we're gonna get a sort of a light brown, lightish brown tone to this. And for that, we'll actually be dipping into maybe not this. Yeah, maybe this. Right. I am missing a color that I know I had at some point, which is a brighter, sort of more pale skin tone. But since we don't have that, we are just gonna make our own. Oh wait, this could actually work, I think. Yeah, you know what? We're gonna do. Let's do this really quick, like so. Again, here I'm a little bit more careful to avoid the skulls, because they're already nice and white, so I can just get away with giving them a wash at some point to make them look like sort of old, crusted, weathered skulls. I will need trick. You can use one of the sort of mid-level tones, a strong tone or something like that from Army Painter. You can use the sepia from, I think, both Citadel and Vallejo. I think it's actually pronounced. I heard someone pronounce it like that. So it's a Spanish company, but I'm just gonna keep messing up the pronunciation of those paints. They also have a sepia ink. This here is just really bright, and I should actually just be able to get away with washing both the dirt here and the skulls in one go if I'm feeling like cheating a little bit, which I am, because we are coming up on my scheduled end of the stream, but I'm having so much fun that I might actually just continue for a while. Also because I skipped the last couple of Sundays. Regularly I stream Sunday and Wednesdays, but my last couple of Sundays have basically just been dedicated to me relaxing. Work has been a little bit crazy. There's been a lot of stuff going on, good stuff. Very fortunate with that. Not bad stuff at all. Just a lot of stuff and interesting stuff, and that just means I need a little bit more time to relax in the weekend. And so I didn't stream. Okay, this is a little annoying. Wait. Am I making things too difficult for myself? No. I just suddenly realized that I might actually have some point decided to not glue him into place, but I can see that that is not the case. He is very much glued into place. These quick snap models from Citadel do have the advantage, though, that they fit really well into the bases, and they're not sort of just, I'm not gonna say they're not flat-footed, but the feet are glued directly to the bases. These actually have small pegs keeping the feet in place, meaning that if I hadn't glued it in, I could just pop out the miniature, paint the base, and then pop the miniature back in. But I was not clever enough to think of that when I assembled the model. So I'm paying for that now by having things being a little more tricky. That's fine. It's fine. Let's just get last bits here. They're done. So, and I think just because we can, we're actually gonna claim that this piece here is a rock. So we get just a little bit more detail into this. So, I mean, it's just to have a little bit of play in the colors. I decided to do that. Now, we just need to wait for this to dry. And while we do that, let's return to the spike up there. You know what? Corpse is gonna get more purple. I'll see how quickly I can. I mean, if we're doing the spikes, if we're making the spikes purple, we're gonna make all the spikes purple. That makes sense. I mean, he may be a chaos, well, not chaos warrior, but a chaos dude, reaper, person thingy, maybe lack of a person. I don't know. But he may be chaos oriented. Doesn't mean he's not up to speed on what is fashionable. Yeah, you're gaming and watching. Cool. So yeah, let me just the spike at the end of his axe here. It's gonna be purple as well. I mean, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be cool. So what do we need here? We need to shake. Well, that is gonna be a project for another day. Anyway, this has been our little dude here. He is got a little bit of love on the boots and the pants, and then the spikes at the end. And with that, I will be signing off for tonight. Thank you for joining. It's been an absolute blast having you here, especially you, Corpse, you know that. And thank you for choosing purple. It made the miniature go in a direction I had not seen, but which I really, really do like. So, with that being said, I will... Purple Chaos Marauder Slanish coming up. Well, this is actually, while I'm still talking, these are very much... Yeah, you can't see the model, but they're very much corn people. So yeah, so maybe the mutation he has is actually from Slanish infecting him a little bit. You never know. But let's see, I don't really know any of the people who are online at the moment. So I will just say thank you for joining. Have a pleasant evening, stay safe, and as always, chill out.